Hi, you're welcome to Reviews and Recaps. So, yes, we're going to be doing a review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, episode 1. Okay, so the first scene was Maso and Tisha were at a restaurant, and Maso basically went on a trip to Africa by himself. Now, I don't know where in Africa he went to. He didn't give us the details, but they were like, oh, Maso went on a trip to Africa, essentially. Now, the first thing I thought was alarm bells, ding, ding, ding. Are you sure Maso didn't go on a trip with a side chick? Because for the longest time we've known, let's not say we've known, allegedly, allegedly, Mr. Maso has side chicks. And he is being a bit shady by going to Africa by himself without bringing Tisha along, especially because Tisha was talking about how she's always wanted to go to Africa. She's never been, and that she was looking forward to going with him. And then he decided to go to Africa by himself without her. I get the impression that Maso wants to live his life as a single person, but wants to get the benefits of being in a marriage. So Tisha taking care of the family, taking care of the kids, looking after the house, wifely duties, ETCs. But he wants to be able to be out there doing whatever he's doing like a single man when you have a wife. Now, I'm not against going on a trip by yourself when you're married or in a relationship. I think it's absolutely fine to do, but if it's a place your partner has always wanted to go to and it's such an interesting experience like that, there is nothing wrong in letting you and your partner have that. And you can always go somewhere else. What's wrong with going somewhere in Europe, for example? It's like, how can you go to that one place your partner really wants to go to without your partner? It just rubs me off the wrong way. I don't know about you guys. What you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, after that, Maso started talking about wanting an executive assistant. He was basically saying that the time away made him decide that he wants to spend more time with his family. I'm like, okay, fair enough. I don't buy it, but fair enough. He eventually talks about wanting an executive assistant. So Tisha was like, does the sex of the assistant matter? Is it important? He basically said he wasn't going to get a male assistant. He does not want a male assistant. Can you believe that? Tisha essentially said that she wanted to be able to vet. If it's a woman, she needs to be able to vet the assistant. And essentially, she does not want the assistant to be young. She's hoping that the assistant will be older. Now, Tisha, can I tell you something? If a man is going to cheat, he going to cheat regardless. The person could be 70-something years old. That would not stop him from cheating with that person if that is what he wanted to do, okay? So shout out to women who believe that their men would only cheat with a younger assistant. Like, stop it. Anyways, Tisha basically called him out for being messy for posting the picture of the guys on the trip, which included Maurice. So I don't know if you guys remember, but the reunion, Maurice was sort of answering the question almost like he did not know Mattel's side chick, even though he was on a trip with her. Now, I know what Maurice is going to say. He's going to say it was a technicality because when you ask someone a question, the way the question was phrased, he does have a room for maneuvering that a little bit by saying, he didn't say he never met her. He just said, the question was phrased as, have you ever been in the same room with her to see the feelings that they have for each other? Something along those lines. So he could say no. That doesn't mean I've never been in a room with her. That means no, I've never seen the relationship, as in I've never seen the feelings, the affections they have towards each other, which is where I think he's coming, bringing that with. But I essentially, I think he should have clarified that. Oh, sorry guys, I'm so tired. Essentially, I think he should have clarified that, but he didn't. I do suspect that he was thinking he was going to get away with it. Anyways, Maso did not let him get away with it because he decided to be little petty boot and post a picture showing him on the trip as well as Maurice on the trip. Now, so Tisha started going on about, how the side chick, aka Mrs. Coleslaw, was talking about the rest of the guys also being cheats as well. Merceau basically told Tisha to stop getting into it as it's not going to end well. Now, Tisha, one thing you need to know is Merceau is lying, so he does not want you to get into a position where you push people to the point where they give you receipts. That is what Merceau is trying to avoid. So he's trying to keep her quiet so that she does not force the issue of receipts. Okay, that's what I personally think, okay? And so he was basically saying that, there's nobody that can tell him, that essentially, people can say whatever, but it's like, you can't be called a dog and decide to bark. And, nobody calls you a dog and expects you not to bark. The worst thing you can do is if someone calls you a dog and then you bark. Essentially, he was trying to shut Tisha down like he always does. Now, I feel bad for Tisha because I personally feel like Tisha does not have a voice in that marriage. Every time she says something, her husband silences her voice by minimizing whatever it is she's talking about, by being dismissive. I don't know how she's handled being with him for that long, because if someone is dismissive of me like that, it's just not going to work. I don't know how people do that, but it just doesn't work for me. Anyways, there was a scene of Martel and Louis. It looks like they've become friends since the reunion. Anyways, Martel went to Louis, I'm guessing that's Louis' gym, and he was talking about how he's been through a lot lately and the gym is his self-care. I'm like, okay, Mattel, whatever. And then he was basically saying to Louis that Mel isn't doing certain things he expects her to do. She has 2 phones and she doesn't pick one of the phones when he wants to talk to the children all day. And, he was basically upset about that. I'm like, you need to dial it down. Dial it back a few notches, babes. But anyways, he was then talking about being upset that Melody stepped out on him. I'm like, how can you be upset that and be raving about this woman raving that Mel cheated on you when you had a side relationship for 5 years and had a baby with the side chick? Bear in mind that the side chick has come out and said that she had multiple abortions for him, allegedly, right? So he has the audacity to compare Mel getting or giving fellatio to somebody versus, an extensive relationship for 5 years. Now, bear in mind that Mel clarified that this was when they were broken up, that she went out and did what she was doing, okay? So there was a huge difference. Mr. Mattel was in the relationship and could not keep his penis in his household, according to Miss Melody. And then he kept going on about he doesn't know why he's being made to be the bad guy. He's not the bad guy here. I'm like, guy, you're so narcissistic if you really believe that you are not the bad guy here. You are the bad guy. You continuously show the world that you are the bad guy in this situation. Your behavior towards the mother of your child is appalling and indicative of the fact that you are the bad guy. So no one has any sympathy for you, Mr. Martel Holt. Okay? Anyways, Mattel basically then eventually was talking about to Louis, and they were both talking about the reunion. They talked a little bit about how Louis felt like people were attacking him and how Mattel stepped in and sort of defended him and told everybody that they themselves weren't being transparent, so they shouldn't be coming for Louis and his wife about being transparent. So they eventually moved on to the topic of Martel basically was saying that Merceau literally threw his brother under the bus by posting that picture. Mattel then had the audacity to say, let's stop throwing each other under the bus like that. I'm like, bro, shut up. All you've done this whole, since I started watching this show, is throw Melody Holt under the bus. Well, sorry, what's her name now? What's her yeah, let's just call her Melody. She's no longer a Holt. But it's like, that's all you've done. So for you to feel like you suddenly have the wisdom to advise someone where you're constantly on social media, throwing your ex-wife under the bus, throwing, everybody under the bus, the audacity, like, shut up. If anyone needs to speak, it shouldn't be you. Anyways, I can't stand his ass, in case you guys haven't really noticed. Anyway, so there was the next scene was Kimi and Maurice. So Kimi was basically trying to find out whether there's any truth to the rumors that Maurice had sex with a linebacker. Now, I don't even know. I know a linebacker is meant to be an insult or something towards women who have a particular frame. I don't support that. But I'm just saying that because that's what they're calling the person that Maurice allegedly cheated with, right? Okay, so I'm just going to use that phrase. We don't know who this person is, allegedly. So essentially, we're going to call her linebacker because that's what everyone has been calling her. It's not indicative of what she is, okay? Anyway, so Kimi basically said to Maurice, did you have sex with the linebacker? I'm asking you a direct question. I want a direct answer. And he was like, why would you even ask me that? And he tried to create bluster around that question and try to twist it around, almost like, you don't trust me. Why would you ask me that question? These so-called social media things are getting to you, blah, blah, blah. But the truth of the matter is it's a very direct question. Why not answer the direct question? For me, I believe that anyone who suddenly starts to dodge a question is not telling the truth. I personally believe that he did have sex with whoever that was, because of the way he was dodging the question. He is not lying. Even if he didn't have sex with her, there was something there, because the way he was dodging the question just did not make any sense. The part that I thought was interesting was when Kimi basically was saying that, there are two things that you can get unconditional love from. One, your pets and your children. And then Maurice was like, yeah, husbands as well. And I was like, okay, I guess you caught your shade, honey, because I think she was throwing a whole tree at you, Maurice, for not loving her unconditionally. I don't know what's there, but I'm sure we're going to see that on the season. I think deep down, Kimi probably knows that he did it, but she's trying not to believe it. So it's a little rough for her in that sense. Yeah. Anyway, so they started talking about, how it looks and the amount of negativity that the posters brought. Kimi was upset about Meso posting the photo. And of course, naturally, she was trying to talk to her husband. And I think her husband was then feeling like it was more of a joke, but it could have sent Tisha into a downward spiral. So he was basically saying to Kimi, like, reach out to Tisha and stuff, which I thought, okay, that was decent. So next thing, we saw Destiny in the studio. Now, guys, Destiny sings now. It also seems that Destiny and Tisha are now suddenly friends. I didn't know they were friends like that. It seems like they've suddenly developed a friendship. Now, I find it weird when people suddenly become friends with a person that dislikes their friend. Does that make sense? Especially when you and your friend are now going through something. Like, it's a different thing if you guys formed a relationship separately and prior to all of this. But unless I'm missing something, they weren't really friends in the last season. So it seems more of now that I'm not in the ends with Melody, let me go be friends with the one person I know she can't stand. It just rubs me off the wrong way. But only time will tell as we watch the show, okay? So Destiny and Tisha were basically just talking. Destiny was saying to Tisha about how she hadn't seen Melody in a while, and Melody created a distance between them. My initial thoughts were this: let's say there is a distance between myself and my friend. I do not go to talk to a third party who does not like my friend or who my friend has had conflict with. If I must talk to a third party, it would be a third party that loves both of us and my friend loves, so that it would be an independent third party opinion without the person like taking sides. The person could be able to look at it, neutrally, and then give me an indication, girl, you're overreacting, it's not that deep. If I don't want to immediately have a conversation directly with my friend, I can have a conversation with a third party that knows both of us and has our best interests at heart. But we all know that Tisha don't like Melody. Melody does not like Tisha. So let's not act like Destiny going to Tisha to talk about this is not shady. Anyways, they could have been talking about other things like the focus of the music that Destiny was singing. They could have been talking about other things, but they chose to talk about Melody. Anyways, we move. So Destiny was basically talking about how, when they were in Los Angeles and they were talking about Mel, Tisha basically was saying like, I think they basically got caught talking about Mel, essentially. Now, we don't know the specifics of what was said, but the fact still remains they were saying stuff about Melody. Like I said, Destiny, why are you talking to Tisha about Melody? I just think it's sneaky, but that's my little 2 cents. Anyway, so Melody and Kimi met up. They were meant to make a charcuterie board. I don't even know if I'm saying it properly. Anyway, so Kimi was basically saying about how, the post that Maso posted and what was going to come of it. And then Kimi was basically trying to say that, there's a difference in commitment in a relationship versus marriage. Do you know what it felt like to me? I'll be honest. It felt like Kimi was trying to say, okay, if he cheated, this was before the marriage, then Kimi was quick to remind Melody that the other 2 guys were the ones that were married and her man was not married at the time. But Melody caught that and was like, well, but you were living with him at the time. I'm like, yeah, like, what are you doing? I feel like deep down, Kimi is trying to differentiate herself from Melody and Tisha because they were cheated on in the marriage. Because I think deep down she knows that it is likely that Maurice cheated with that linebacker. But because she's shouted and raved about cheating being such a deal breaker for her, she's now trying to rationalize the fact that cheating in a marriage is different from cheating in a relationship. What do you guys think? Like, do you guys agree with me? If you disagree, let me know in the comment section. Let me know, because sometimes, the way I think about things can be so different from the way you guys think about things. So if it's different, let me know, and then we can talk about it in the comment section and continue this conversation down there in the comment section. Anyways, whilst they were talking, Tisha's name got brought up and Melody's energy basically changed. So Kimi was trying to find out, like, why did your energy change as soon as I was talking about Tisha? So Mel basically told Kimi about how Destiny and Tisha were talking about her in their hotel room, and she could hear them from her room. I think Melody is so petty. Melody apparently went there. She knocked on the door and told them that they might want to lower their voice because everyone can hear it in the hallway. I'm like, ooh, Melody. I guess what better way to let them know that you heard them? And she said that she eventually had lunch with Destiny after that, and Destiny apologized for talking about her. You guys, if you're new here, you know I don't swear on this channel. Well, I try not to. I'm sure it's probably slipped. But yeah. Anyway, so that was pretty much it. She was basically talking about I don't know if it's Destiny or Tisha that called her a Scorpio, and stuff like that. But it's interesting how different the stories are. Destiny said that they weren't talking, nonsense about Melody. Melody said that they were. And Melody said that that Destiny accepted they were talking ish and apologized. So I'm curious to see how that actually plays out in this season, because I need to hear details. I need to know what was said. I just need that to be explored further. For me, that's how I feel. Anyways, Mel basically invited Kimi to her pajama party, right? So she's like, you guys come, I ordered some cute pajamas, blah, 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 for you guys. And she emphasized, she was like, Destiny and Tisha are not invited. So, don't let them be your plus one, basically. I thought that was funny. But yeah. After that, there was a family dinner. There was Maso, there was Tisha, Maurice, Kimi, their brother. I think it's Maso and Maurice's brother and his wife. And then they were having like a little dinner. And it was interesting that the picture was brought up. So Mercer basically said that he does not think Maurice will have an issue with it, but because Kimi has an issue with it, that he knows that he's going to bring it up. And I think that's exactly what happened. I think that because Kimi went in on Maurice privately about it, Maurice felt like he now had to defend her because he knows Kimi would bring it up and Kimi would not let it go. So if you notice, Maurice was piping all the way up for the conversation. But it was interesting that Mercer did not care how the picture would affect anyone. He didn't even think through that. He didn't even think that there was a potential for it to even affect anybody. And I just thought, you are very self-absorbed. You are a very self-absorbed person. Like, how wouldn't you think you posting that is going to have an impact or some blowback on your wife? Why wouldn't you think you'll have some blowback on your family, your brother, his wife, his family? It's just interesting. Merceau is so messy, but he just does it so subtly, right? That people can really forget it. Unless he does something like outrageous, like posting that picture and people are blowing him up in the comments. But even with that, like, he would do sly stuff like that. But then on the show, he would be saying, let's not air our dirty laundries. Let's not talk about it. Let's focus. Let's not give them our attention. Like, no, let's bring it all. That same energy you have to post certain things on social media. Can we bring that energy? Let's all post things. Okay. All across the board, honey. Let's do it. And, it was interesting. Maso was basically saying that, for him, the end result that, was that Maurice would be seen as complicit, but he didn't really think it through to that extent. And Kimi was basically saying that he didn't, she didn't know whether he noticed, but most of the negative comments were actually against Maso for posting the picture. There were some comments about Maurice, but most of it was about Maso in the picture, And it was interesting when Tisha was asked whether she was bothered by the post. She said that she wasn't. I think it was a lie. Lie detected. I honestly think it's a lie. She's definitely bothered. She looks bothered. She seems bothered. She is bothered. That is what I truly believe. I don't understand why she feels like she has to lie because just to cover up for her husband's behavior. He doesn't even care about you. He did not care about how upset you would be. So why are you suddenly acting like I don't understand. Anyways, that's where I'm going to leave it for today. I'm actually very excited about the season because I think it's going to be really interesting. I think that they're going to give us a whole lot of drama. I can feel it in my bones. It's meant to be love and marriage, but I feel like most of these marriages, if not all, will most likely end up sadly in a divorce, because the way things are being handled on the show and away from the show, it is very concerning. I wonder whether the marriages would be able to last at this rate, because it sounds like there are things hidden in the closet. Now, I don't know if how many of you guys caught it, but Maurice basically said there's so much he's not saying. I'm like, bro, are you about to air everything all the way out? Like, what is going on? And I feel like we're sort of at a point where it's like, this show is the new Love and Hip Hop, man. It really is. Like, Love and Hip Hop fell off, but I guess Love and Marriage Huntsville is the new Love and Hip Hop at this rate. I don't know, man. But yeah. Anyways, I'm going to be doing reviews on this season, so stay tuned. I'm also going to be doing like little videos here and there dealing with various people and talking in more detail about like certain clips and stuff. I'm hoping that one of these days we can schedule in some live sessions. If you want to join the live, and you think a live session would be great, let me know in the comment section below. Thank you guys for listening, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.